friends, and welcome to Darkwoods Paranormal, the descent into darkness. I'm your host, Gabriel Von Graves, and with me, as always, is the ever mysterious, the ever fearless Raven Knight.
Yay, thank you.
Tonight, we're taking you on a journey. Tonight, we're taking you on a journey, not a straight path, but one that winds through centuries across oceans and into places where shadows hold their own history. From the quiet farmlands of Tennessee, where the Bell Witch first made her name, to the misty caves of Zugarmandi. I say that wrong every time, but it's fine. Where whispers of the Devil's Sabbath led to one of the largest witch trials in history. We'll travel deeper still to the jungles of Colombia, where the petal witches are said to work their magic with flowers plucked from the grave. Sounds tasty. Then we're going to Mississippi, where a swamp witch swore revenge on an entire town, and if the legend is true, make good on her threat. And finally, we'll arrive at the Bell House in Washington, D.C., a place where history sleeps lightly and the dead still stand watch in the halls. But our night doesn't end there, because after we've walked with the witches and wandered through haunted corridors, we'll turn our gazes to the paranormal news. From mysterious interstellar visitors tracked by SETI to the strange creatures in the Florida Everglades. And then a ghost ship that breaks its own curse. We've gathered the unexplained from every corner of the world. Tonight, we're not just telling stories, we're building a map of the unknown. One haunting, one curse, one strange signal at a time. And you, my friends, are right here with us in the thick of it. So, from Raven and myself, thank you for joining us, for stepping away from the ordinary, and for choosing to spend your night here in the descent into darkness. And a special welcome to... Take it away, Missy.
We're gonna give it up to JD.
Yes!
Hey.
He gets no up.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us tonight, JD. It's good to see you.
It's always a pleasure to be around you guys. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. We'll give you the floor for a few seconds before we get into our actual stories. But if you want to just give us a little bit of,
you can have an hour. Just take the floor.
Yeah, just take a whole hour.
Whatever you want. Just do it.
you know, it's yours. It's yours.
Do it.
Take the floor.
So I'm JD with Chumming with the Spirits podcast. We're the #1 paranormal podcast in the Midwest with the shark logo. You got to put that shark part in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a little over a year, almost a year and a half. As you guys may know, we're inviting you guys to celebrate our 15,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's great.
We're a little off. We're over 16, almost 16.5 now. So we'll probably be 17 by the time you guys come down to help celebrate us.
Good for you.
So,
exciting.
yeah. We cover a lot, almost everything that you just said, Gabriel, we have covered in an episode or not, or talked about. So one of our most popular episodes is actually the Bell Witch.
Really?
Yes. So it overtook. We had a D&D one. We had Ape Canyon used to be our #1. Something about the Bell Witch really is sparked, and people really like that one. So
wasn't it a movie? I thought I saw.
Yes. They modernized it in the telling, and it ended up being, I think the wife was the one that actually ended up poisoning him. But the stories, because even a president, Andrew Jackson, witnessed the haunting. So I'm looking forward to talking with you guys on that. There's 2 other parts of the Chumming with the Spirits, Parachum and OG. They are
good guys, by the way. Good guys. Good friends.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
They're awesome.
Their questionable decisions on food may have led one of them not to be able to make it tonight.
Seems
the
to
other
be
one,
a pattern, my friend. Seems to be a pattern.
He's a risk taker.
I'm worried.
So,
good for him.
And OG's out running around in his Chevelle, so he's having a good time. So he might be available later, but we'll see.
both good people. You guys have a wonderful show. I just actually watched Orbs today, and I really enjoyed it. I like you guys' format. Ours is a little bit different because you guys are more seasoned. We are still wet behind the ears. So, I read off a script, and I get like every fourth word right. So it's getting better. So I'm aiming for at least 7 right today before I screw up, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. I'll be honest. I think you guys live just talking do so well. I've kind of looked at some of the video of us all filming together. That's going to be coming out pretty soon from UFO Days.
Oh, thank you guys for coming down to that. And that was in Elmwood, Wisconsin. We had a lot of fun. We really did.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
If your guys are involved in that again, we are definitely going to be back for
We
3
would
days.
love to. It all depends on how many people we made mad, but we'd love to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It all depends.
Yeah, you guys.
I mean, there's that.
And I think that's one of the neat things about all the podcasters that I've met this year, including you. We're all just unique enough. We have some overlap, talk about some similar things, but our styles and how we do things is just unique enough that I think a lot of our subscribers would share and enjoy. And we're, more we meet, more people, so great. And being able to have these conversations and talk about all these neat stories that, because the United States really isn't that old compared to Europe and all the ancient stories over there. But we got quite a few interesting stories to tell.
Well, we actually met, Jumping with the Spirits in a Paracon in Kansas City. And, we joke with each other because Paracons get kind of slow. But I think the best part is the people that we meet. And through all the Paracons that we've been to, being completely honest about this, meeting you guys was literally the highlights of this year. It really was.
Yeah, it was.
We really enjoyed the time there. The casino was beautiful, by the way. I really loved it.
Yeah, Maristar Casino.
Cool. Yeah.
There's actually quite a few different casinos in Kansas City that are very similar. Beautiful layouts. But the Maristar, it's going to be back in 2026.
Okay.
In February. Have you guys? You need to hop on. Make sure
Bring
you
those
get your
out.
vendor spot.
We do that. Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't done it.
Yeah, you don't want to let it slip out because I think they're still giving a discount for anybody that was there last year.
Oh, fantastic! And then hopefully we will be able to do Eureka Springs, the zombie crawl, and if not Boost, maybe we can all end up there and just have some fun. It was fun seeing the kids and the families. I mean, it really was. With all those people that they sent on this little tiny town, and I would say there was absolutely nothing bad that happened. People were just friendly. I really enjoyed myself seeing the kids just smile with all the zombie crawls. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. How about you, Ray?
I loved it. I would go back there like tomorrow. I really like that town a lot. And honestly, when we were there, I loved everything about the zombie crawl, but I feel like there was more that we could have done that I would love to go and do. And I know we've talked about this a couple times, but like the Crescent Hotel, for example,
yes.
And then
that's a really good one.
I mean, we heard the story, like we know what the story is behind it. So I think it would be really cool to just go and
the Calico
see it.
and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. But I loved Eureka Springs. So even if we don't go back for Zombie Crawl, it's on my list to go back again because I really
Just
like that place a
don't
lot.
drink the water, right? Right? We heard that. That's
Yeah.
Don't drink the spring water.
No.
Don't drink it.
No. Well, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna hop right into it. Feel free to chime in anytime I scoop a word or you want to change something. Let me know. Okay. All right. Our story begins in the early 1800s in the rolling farmland of Robertson County, Tennessee. Actually, Ben, I actually really like Tennessee. It's a lot of fun. John
Tennessee's
Bell, a
beautiful.
respected farmer, had moved his family to a quiet homestead, a place of peace, or so it seemed. But one night, that peace was broken. First, it was just knocking on the walls, faint, scratching sounds outside the cabin, the rustling of something moving with no one was there. At first, the Bells thought it might have been an animal in the walls, the wind, the ticks of an old house. But soon, the activity came inside. Blankets ripped off from their beds, pillows thrown into the dark, whispers at night, faint, mocking words too soft to understand, and then came the voices. The voice called herself Kate. Many believe it was the spirit of Kate Bates, a neighbor with the fiery temper who had a bitter land dispute with John Bell. Some say she swore on her deathbed to make his life miserable. Whether the spirit was truly Kate or not, it made no secret of its purpose. It had came to kill John Bell. Miles away, it could mimic it could mimic voices. It could recite Bible studies from miles away. Um, Friends and neighbors would come. It would torment the Bell's children, slapping, pinching, leaving red welts on their skin. And John himself began to weaken. His jaw would lock, his tongue would swell, and the voice, Kate's voice, would laugh, saying she was the cause. People came from miles around to witness it. Even General Andrew Jackson, which you said earlier, paid a visit. And according to the story, he fled in the night after the spirits promised to deal with all of them. In December of 1820, John Bell was found in his bed, barely breathing. On the table beside him was an unmarked vial of dark liquid. Kate announced with cruel delight that she had poisoned him. And so the Bell Witch made good on her threat. But why did it all begin? Was it revenge, born of betrayal, or something far older from a darker drawn to the Bell family for reasons we will never understand? Whatever it was, it had truly left the Robinson County, and some say it never will. So, how accurate was my portrayal of the story? What do you say, Jake?
That's the general census of the story. When we got into it, there's a lot of disputed stuff. Like Kate, she was alive. She was a neighbor. So having her be the spirit at the same time, it's kind of odd.
Right.
There is a Bell Cave, which was located on the same area that has paranormal activity, and voices are heard there. The house wasn't old. It was when John Bell showed up. He was around 52, I believe. He cut down all the trees and built that house himself.
Okay.
He's a well-respected person in the area, but I think his closest neighbor at that time was like 3 to 4 miles away. I mean, they were really out in the woods. And the first mention of it, he believed he saw a large, dark hound.
Yeah.
A hellhound.
Yeah. So when we got into it, you can go two ways on this. The events happened between 3 to 5 years. He went from a very strong man to build a house, 52 years old, to within 3 years was having convulsions, had lost strength, mental acuity, but it wasn't all sudden. He had a rapid decline, but it was over time, which we kind of hint at that. You look into some of the non-human things that are around, basically demons and possession. Those are more up that line of it getting a hold of them and slowly deteriorating them. The poison, that's the big one. It killed her. They used it on a cat. That's how they know it was poisonous. They killed a cat within like a couple minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's very well documented. So it's the only U.S. documented court case that they found a supernatural being responsible for the death of a person.
Really?
Yes, that's how I knew about it from Larry. Larry's like we want to go there because there's also a note written by two boys that went to go visit the location. They ended up going to the cave, and for some reason they thought it was angels, and when they were done, they deemed it was probably demons. And it's a pretty interesting story. But the poor youngest child was she had her hair tied to the bedpost, was pulled out of the bed. It really tormented the youngest and John the most. But they had neighbors come over. All the town folk knew about it. They had all stayed out there at one point in time and witnessed it. Had people standing around outside the house, inside the house, and the activity still happened. Andrew Jackson, his quote was, he would rather face the whole entire British Army again than to ever have to face the Bell Witch again.
Really?
That was like in one of his memoirs was written about that because he was from that area. It is a very interesting story. You have poltergeist activity. You have, somebody losing health over over a period of time, and just it there's at no point in time does the entity ever say it's a witch. It does say Kate. The witch part got added later.
Sure.
Well, and that honestly, that was kind of put on to the living Kate because they were trying to insinuate that she was a witch that was
Sure.
doing all that to John Bell. But there's no. She even made statements that there was no real animosity. They were neighbors, but you're talking like they were 5 to 6 miles apart from each other.
Right.
The land dispute, it was all when you go homesteading, it was all homesteading. Like they had left where they were at, which when you dig into that gets a little weird because why would you up and leave when you're 52 years old in that time frame? Because you're an elder. Usually you're pretty well established. They moved. They started all new. Everything seemed to be going good for about the first year, and then he saw the dog, and then it progressively got weirder and weirder. Like all the members of the family had seen some version of this thing.
Now, in the movie, did they kind of glaze the aspect that maybe there was something with him and the children?
Yeah, they
It was very subtle. It was very subtle.
Yes.
But what do you know about that aspect?
That I couldn't find any documentation. There's also some. I couldn't find. One of the theories is also that it might have been one of their maids/slaves, but I can't find records of slaves that they owned, which doesn't mean that they didn't. It just usually when you're on a homestead and the house isn't that big, they all lived inside. It wasn't like they had a colonial house built. It was a standard wood cabin, cut logs and all that. But they thought maybe maybe a slave or a maid that had been mistreated maybe slipped in. And then recently, most people are trying to say it's his wife was the one that gave him the poison. It could have been him. I mean, his health had deteriorated so badly. He was having convulsions, seizures. The main problem is they don't know how that poison got to him because he wasn't well enough to get up and move around to get it. It just appeared by his bedside, and evidently he had taken it.
That's very interesting. Could have been a tick that made him sick slowly. I mean, back in the day.
Could have been Lyme disease. Depends on what tinfoil hat you want to put on, since Lyme disease seems fairly new. I mean, there are diseases. There's a ton of them that affect your brain and cognitive. It's hard to say without them ever being able to go back and check. They just know they definitely know what killed them. It was more likely arsenic, a derivative of arsenic, because it was pretty fast acting. Poor cat.
Is the Bell Witch Farm still there? I mean, is it a tourist attraction or is it far gone?
So the house is gone, but the land is still there. It is an attraction. You can go to the Bell Witch Cave, which they get EVPs out of the cave. That was also another thing that's kind of brought up, that it may have been something that was already there predating them, and that they kind of on the land lives in the cave and in that area. You'd have to go into the Native American lore of that area, but cave dwelling spirits, and they're still getting EVPs there. It affected the young Belle. I believe her name was Sarah. She had problems the rest of her life, being tormented because it like I said, it went on for 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Once he died, it kind of died down, but they still, one of Belle's grandsons talked about some of the activity. Great grandson talked about some of the activities. There's interviews on YouTube that, when they went to do the movie, which they kind of modernized it, they did kind of ask him about whether or not it's still active. And he's like, pretty much it's active in his family. Like his grandma had a weird poltergeist experience. She called, which was his grandma, so she ended up calling his dad, which I believe he's John Bell the Fifth or something like that. They went to run. His dad grabbed him and said, "Hey, we need to go take care of grandma." They ran to go check on grandma, and his grandma was freaking out. So his dad sent her upstairs to lay down and calm down. And they walked into the dining room, and it was one of those old style houses that had the hutches in the walls, and the dining room had all the china. Said all the china was out on the floor.
Wow.
None of it broken, but every single piece was sitting there on the floor. And it all happened within a couple seconds, and that's what startled his grandma. So they put the china back in the hutch, made sure she was okay. They stayed around for a little bit and left, and he goes, that was some of the activity that even after was still going on in the family in that area. So it may be something in the area, because that plot of land was fairly large. But
Would you call it the Bell curse, perhaps?
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the witch part got added on later because they just assumed it was the neighbor, which she was exonerated. There was no proof it was her. There's no reason for. It's kind of odd how things morph over time, and
Absolutely.
people take out. But I would think more of a Bell curse, since
Right.
it's still active, fairly active up to at least 1 to 2 generations ago. And then like the cave's still active, like they still get EVPs and all that. But that may be because people are still visiting it, right? I mean, that area was very famous. Like everybody in that town knew about it. And think about that. Everybody knew about it, and they were still going out trying to help them.
Well,
And they were trying to prove that he was, whole community. So, I mean, because they led that he wasn't well liked and maybe he was being targeted. But when you get into the accounts, like they had multiple people spend multiple nights inside and outside trying to figure out what could be causing it. And it still happened no matter who was outside, who was inside. So that's definitely a very interesting story that I don't know how you'd end up getting down to the actual truth of what truly, you'd have to believe some paranormal, or, was a whole mass hallucination.
Right.
Was it something in the water?
It looks like we have to take a tour down to Tennessee there, Raven.
Oh darn.
Oh, shucks.
Oh no.
Well,
Hey,
so
you guys have to come with us. Chummy the
Oh,
Spirits. We all go
we
down.
Well, we'd love to do that. We should do a
Yes.
witches tour. We could do the Bell Witch, Salem, a few other
I
I
spots.
love
want to so
it.
do that.
And I'm leaving tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, eventually. We'll go
Yes.
overseas and we'll
Pennsylvania.
conquer over there. I love that.
I just wanted to think, and honestly, I had this thought earlier when I was listening to another thing about this, about how they found the poison after after he had died, and I'm a true crime person.
Mhm.
And of course,
Always
my
a
brain went,
spouse.
the wife did it. That's where I went right away. I was like, the wife did it. And
I'm going with the
so
lover like I did last time. It was a lover. Poison.
it's like 90%, 99%ish, whatever.
Right.
So my thought was, I mean, this was back in the 1800s, right? We don't, again, like we can't verify any of the stories that come out of
That's why we have
this.
to go there to find out the truth.
All we know is what people are saying, or like what they, or like the family recorded, like, oh, all these weird things were happening, right? That's all we really know.
Well, there's court
Yeah.
records.
What?
Records. There's court records because they took it to court because they were trying to find somebody to blame for his murder.
Oh,
So that's how.
Yeah.
sure.
So there is documentation of what people saw, what they were dealing with, and multiple town witnesses. So there would be some, if you use your true crime detective skills, you probably could uncover some stuff that may not have been.
Was the wife
Yeah.
ever kind of looked at? I mean, did she?
I think everybody was, from the wife to the neighbor to.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
because he was at that time, it was a well liked man that really helped develop that area.
Mhm.
I lean towards. I think he may have taken it himself. I mean, he was so deteriorated towards the end that if it was presented to him, because I mean, he went from being a very prominent man, being able to build a house. I mean, I think it was like 57 trees is what he cut down or something. It's a decent sized house that he built. His son wasn't quite that old, and he was everything I could find was fairly well liked in the community. He really helped get people in that area to come to kind of populate that. So, to take somebody and keep in mind different time,
Mhm.
you're to go from that prominent to being that frail, I could see him, because he could barely talk. He'd lose, he lost memory, muscle functions, convulsions. He was basically having to be taken care of by his whole family. Being a burden like that back then, because he's not contributing, he can't help harvest, he can't help raise anything. So I mean, there's, it could have been, assisted suicide, but the
Right. I was
spirit
just
said it was him.
thinking that. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I
Said,
mean,
said it, or at least, well, the spirit said that it gave him the poison. Doesn't mean that it made him drink it.
right. Well, I mean, he went into a plot of land, started cutting down trees. I mean, I'm going with the land, and especially if there's
Yeah.
a cave,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and then you have this cave
yeah,
that's also on the land that still has activity today. I think there might have been something there.
right.
But again, it took a long time. That's why I'm like, well, non-human entity, possession over a period of time. I mean, it messed with him, and for some reason, the youngest daughter. Yeah, do you imagine being in a house every night? The walls, things would be knocking on the walls. The youngest daughter had been yanked out of bed multiple times, or had her hair tied to the bedpost. They saw weird things.
Was he rich when he got there? Was he? How did he make his money?
Well, that's what I couldn't find out. When he moved, I believe the land, he didn't even buy the land. It was homesteading at that point in time.
Right.
So he had to occupy so many acres and stay there for so long to get that land. But he helped other people get there. Now, I don't really think back then money was that big of a, I mean, it would have been nice, but when you're on a homestead, money's not really the biggest thing. It's going to be doing trade, helping people, building relationships versus, because I mean, yeah, gold's nice, but it doesn't feed your family if you have no general store to go to, because he would have had to help. Yeah, he would have to help set the city up that was still 10 or 12 miles away.
Right.
And he was known to do that, to help out. But what his trade and all that was, I'm not sure. I'm assuming it was farming. When he got there, he farmed the land and sold produce and helped other people out.
Well, I'd like to do some more research on that area because I actually did an episode about leprechauns and the mounds where if you disrupt it, they curse you. They curse your whole family. So when you started talking about all that, I started getting the thought, leprechauns, right? Raven, leprechauns.
Little
I
people.
love leprechauns.
Yeah, little people in general.
Right.
Doing it, but you did.
Yeah, whether you're either talking about leprechauns, elves, or fae.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of little people in Appalachian history
Yes.
and they're mischievous, and they generally do mess with your whole family or a family line until you get out of the way.
Take their land, disrupt the land, and they take that very personal. Absolutely. That'd be very interesting. We got to go to Tennessee.
Slowly start to go crazy.
Oh.
I could see that. And that was the other thought. I mean, I know if I'm laying in bed at night and there's a knock on my door, like I'm already like this, and that's one knock. This is like multiple times throughout the night for years of just knocking and noises and
you're talking about these people didn't sleep in.
No.
You woke up.
You worked the land.
Yeah, you worked the land. So I mean,
you either worked or you starved. They're animals.
Yeah. You didn't have a break. If you weren't doing something the next day, you weren't going to eat. Your animals wouldn't be taken care of. Your whole family's at jeopardy. So yeah, they're probably getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep regularly just because they're getting woke up all the time.
That'd drive me crazy alone.
Yeah, it would. It definitely is mental distress. I mean, that sleep deprivation happens, and it was years of activity.
So leprechauns are nothing more than mystical creatures. I mean, when you look into them, and they start with knocking on doors. They start messing you small, and then it progresses. So that's very fascinating. We have to go to Tennessee, absolutely.
That's where the iron horseshoe on your doorway. Ward off evil spirits and fae.
Yep. I love it.
I mean, a lot of that superstition in the Appalachians came from Europe. I mean, they brought a lot of that over. There's vampire lore in the Appalachians. There's all sorts of different ghosts, little people. It's pretty interesting area. I mean, that's where you're not supposed to whistle at night. You're not.
Well, we'll try not to do any of that stuff when we all go.
I just try not to whistle in general. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
no, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm horrible at it, so I don't have to worry about it.
No, I can't whistle.
Exactly.
It's,
Yeah,
it's fine.
we'll be all
Well,
right.
Are you okay if we change directions and go
Let's
to
go.
to another witch? All right.
Well, hopefully you're going to make a map of Darkwood's story content so everybody can see where you've talked about on the U.S. map.
Oh,
I
we
say
will
we,
get
and
on
then
that.
we also go. We go
We
to
gotta
all
do
of
that.
I was gonna get one. I was gonna get one of those big old maps and put it in my living room, and then start putting pins in all of the places we go.
I love that.
Well, you could make a map and then put what episode you guys covered on those locations, and
We
then
should so do that.
and do a release every year. You know,
Right.
maybe do a calendar.
If
You know,
you
have
can
I
what
remember all
places.
that. I love
Yeah.
that.
That's a fun idea.
That is. Oh, you're good at
That's
this.
it.
All right.
And
Anyways,
Our journey
Next-
now takes
next.
us across the
He's
ocean
good at
to
this.
the mist-covered mountains of northern Spain. A small village with a name whispered in fear and fascination. And I screw this up all the time, but I'm going to try it one more time, okay? Zergamati. Does that sound good?
I mean, it sounds
Zergamati.
right.
To me.
Yeah, okay. It is a place of stone houses, winding streets, and shadows that seem to move with no one is there. But beneath its quiet surface lies a story soaked in superstition, hysteria, and blood. So the story goes. In the early 1600s, rumors began to spread through the isolated village, whispers of strange gatherings in the hills, chants carried in the wind, and fires burning in the caves outside of town. Locals spoke of witches, Sabbaths where the devil himself was said to appear, and men and women alike danced, feasted, and swore themselves to his service. Whether these stories are true, are born from fear, soon became tyrants. Fear has a way of growing teeth. So in 1609, the Spanish Inquisition arrived under orders to root out hysteria. They arrested dozens of villagers, men, women, and even children. The caves of Zergamani, once a place of communal gatherings, became a symbol of evil in the eyes of the church. The accused were tortured, their confessions drawn out in agony, and their words twisted into proof of deaths with the devil. The trial that followed became one of the largest witchcraft trials in history, even they were buried, they're burned at the stake, others died in prison, and the rest were forever marked as witches in the eyes of their neighbors. To this day, some say the caves still hold the echoes of their screams. Visitors claim to hear chanting deep within or see shadowy figures flickering in the torchlight during the annual fest that now reclaims the legend. But perhaps the most haunting part of the story, when I was reading it, there is absolutely no evidence of true witchcraft was ever found. The witches of Zergamani may have been guilty only of living differently, believing differently, or simply being in the wrong place when the Inquisition came. And if that's the case, the real devil in this story is the humankind, the visitor, the people that lived around them. So what do you think? What stories do you know, JD, of people accusing people of things and turning out it's not true?
It's good
Seems
to
like-
say.
Seems
What
like that
stories
happens a
did you come
lot.
up with that?
Yeah. So, well, there's a lot of, how do you put this? A lot of people are accused of witchcraft for people just trying to help. The greens, like we kind of, I don't know if you know, like the green skinned witch, where that comes from, is the green thumb. Witches generally would work with herbs and plants, and
Right?
they would get green on their hands, and that was used to
Yeah.
they usually would have cats, sometimes black, and that was, well, during the plague, they now know that was spread by rats. Well, if you had cats, the odds of you catching the plague were very reduced because it kept the rats that were diseased away from you. It may kill your cats, but if you had a bunch of them, well, now you have this old lady that has helped people get over colds, sicknesses because she has the herbs. She knows what aspirin from the bark is, green thumbs, and she never gets sick, even though everybody else in the village got sick. And now she's a witch, and it's got to, and then when they try you as a witch, you die and you're saved, or you die as a witch. I mean, there was no
Either
winning
way.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
There's
either
no
way.
winning.
No.
Winning.
Huh. Have you ever heard of the Zergamati's caves?
No, I have not heard of the Zergamati caves, which is kind of interesting. I'm gonna have to look that one up because that's very interesting. I'm assuming. Well, the Spanish Inquisition caused a lot of terror all over Europe, and then we had our own issues here in the United States and small little town. That was actually widespread. Actually, it wasn't just Salem. There's multiple locations all over the United States that was running into the same issues. That just happened to be most famous.
What kind of stain do you think that leaves on an area? Being accused of something so horrific as witchcraft. I mean, most people were Christians, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then being accused of just the opposite. What kind of stain do you think that leaves on the land?
I think it can leave a very large one. There's, when you get into folklore and that, there's multiple supernatural, like we covered wraiths. They're a spirit that comes back for revenge. They were wrongfully done while they're alive, and just through vengeance themselves, they come back, and they're very dangerous. I think you could run into, and just the trauma in that area. I mean, that's the reason why a lot of hospitals and morgues are actually have paranormal activity. I think it's because of the impact of the people that were there and the emotions that fed whatever else is there. There's a lot of theories on that, but on the witch trials and the Spanish Inquisition, and they were. I mean, I don't know if you looked into how bad those were. So they believe that you shouldn't be able to shed blood.
Yeah.
So they use branding irons. They would use hot pokers to that way, because you weren't spilling blood because it was seared. I'm like they were, and then like they're trying to get confessions. Well, I mean, you burn somebody's eyeball out. I mean, it's kind of hard not to.
I would confess to anything. Yeah, just to make it stop. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was horrible what was happening in the name of what they were doing it for. Who knows the numbers of people that were. Well, and there's that fine line of, okay, what if they were witches? They believe something else. Does that still give you the right to kill them? Because they don't believe in the same religion as you. It's very, very tricky.
So let's say they were witches, right? I mean, we are paranormal people, and things happen that you can't explain. That's the curiosity of it, I think. What would you think about somebody being able to possess some kind of energy, be able to do something, and to actually change form? And do you think maybe chain shifters, came from there? Because you can't be yourself because you're being accused. So you manifest yourself into something else, and then there you go.
So there's a lot of like lycanthropy, the werewolves. That was a European thing, believing that they were changing into the animal themselves. Yeah, I mean, look at vampires doing it, changing it to multiple creatures. Shape shifting's been around for a long time, but I mean, if you thought you needed an escape, mentally, what does that do to you being prosecuted like that?
Change everything.
Your whole town that you've saved half of them from the plague, and now they're all trying to come after you because they think you're a witch.
Right.
Because it when we went into the Salem trials, it was as close to mass hysteria as you could get.
Everyone was just accusing of everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the Spanish Inquisition was the same way. There's some other, there was also World War II had a lot of that stuff kind of happen.
Right.
Because you get afraid that if you don't go along with it, you're going to be the next person pointed at.
So you point out somebody else so they don't point you out.
Gotta save yourself, Yeah.
History repeats. Modern times, same thing, kind of pointing out things. Yeah. That's very interesting. Raven, what do you think? change shapeshifters. What do you think?
That was an interesting theory. I have never thought of that before. So that's very interesting, but that makes sense. Like if we're thinking of, being able to manifest, and maybe you are manifesting that. I have never thought of
You
that
mean like
before.
a tulpa?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
sure.
Another shout out for another podcast episode.
You love that one, JD. You love the topas.
Parachum really loves them. It
How
does.
many times topa? Make it a
It's
drinking.
yeah, yeah. The Parachum Darkwood drinking game.
Yes. Yes, that's our new thing. We're gonna market that.
Board game, just like life. I love that.
Yes. Oh, we could have a paranormal board game. I know that was completely off.
It's called the Ouija board. They already have that.
Oh, no, not Ouija board. No, something completely different. Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, that's interesting, isn't it? Like I've never thought of that before. If you were just gonna manifest to kind of protect yourself.
Should we go to Colombia now, you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, let's just continue going across the globe here.
Let's go across the globe.
There's a curious and unsettling legend of the pedal witches. You ever heard of the pedal witches?
No, not the pedal witches. Interesting theory, though, as you were explaining it.
Their name comes from the delicate flower petals they carry, each one said to have soaked it in spells, blood, and poison. So the story begins with a woman who lived apart from the village, a herbalist, midwives, and healers who tend to the sick using plants no one else dared to touch. Some say they could cure fevers with a single tea. Others claim they could stop a man's heart with the same brew. Their enemies whispered that the petals in their satchels were plucked from flowers grown in graveyards, fed by the bones of the dead. And when I was reading this, I automatically thought of a really awesome tea, because I think that would be good. Flowers grown in graveyards, fed by the bones of the dead. I would buy that tea.
I would buy
In
it
many
too.
parts of the world, superstition turned quickly to fear. When a series of sudden deaths swept the region, livestock dropped in the fields, men collapsed without warning, and the villagers turned to the healers, and they said they are witches. Had sent their petals, their little pets, or their little flowers in the wind, each drifting bloom carrying a curse. So, pursued through the jungle, many of the accused vanished into the clouded forests, even to be never to be seen again. But the legend holds that their descendants still live, passing down the art of petal magic, both for healing and for harm. Travelers claim that if you walk in the forest to find fresh petals scattered around you, if you walk the forests and you wake up and there's petals scattered around you, you've already been marked. So the petal witches worked in silence, slipping poison between beauty and beast into the breath. But not all witches hide in the shadows. Some announce their vengeance loudly during the world to stop them. And when they do, they earth themselves and they remember. So once again, we have another case of witches living in the middle of nowhere, practicing herbal stuff, and they're accused of witchcraft. It just keeps on repeating, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does.
seems like they were almost pointed out, because there was one way you control population is by making them reliant on you, and if there's only one place for them to go get healed, it makes it even easier. So now you have independent people that are just trying to help out, that get a reputation for whatever. But go into the petals and that there are, nightshade is very poisonous if you don't know what to do with it.
David.
But when we get into when you get into flowers,
What?
yeah, what? Huh?
All about nature.
There are certain flowers that will grow in certain areas. Like the red poppy became very well known because of the battlefields from World War One. They literally sprung up all over the battlefields because of the rich iron in the ground from all the blood. So there's certain plants that will show up with the right soil compositions, and if you know what you're looking for, and looking for a certain thing, it wouldn't be uncommon, because keep in mind, graveyards back then didn't use coffins. They just put people,
Oh,
and
sure.
very rarely were they even in a box.
Right. 3
So
feet.
they were,
There you go.
they were
Look at
just
that.
buried in, maybe even best a sack. So the ground and soil would absorb them faster and would propagate growth of different flora. So if you knew what you're looking for, we now know funguses, certain teas that you can make. You can take care of common colds. You can help people. There's a lot of ways, a lot of remedies that we lost because big pharma kind of pushed that all away, and we're starting to get back into it, where
Right.
people are starting to because that was like the whole thing. Yeah, because like a lot of people don't realize, like, the silver bullet with werewolves. Silver is antibacterial. It kills bacteria. They didn't know what a bacteria was back then. Why'd they pick the one metal that actually kills stuff that can help disinfect?
Right.
Just those little things. There was a case where they were talking about, if you were sick, you'd take a handful of dirt from this graveyard and put it underneath your pillow, and people would get better after a few days of sleeping with the dirt underneath them. And they found microbes.
Right.
Yeah, it had metal and microbes in it that actually did help. And it's those little tidbits of facts that we're relearning, that people back then probably knew that. Like how you keep from getting an infection on a bandage, like if you get a cut or whatever. Like we're really dumb nowadays. Most people don't know how. Like if they had something go through their leg and they weren't near a hospital, they're done.
They would
Like,
trouble.
yes, and these people were well known, knew what to take, or and whether or not it's for medicine or to numb the pain. I mean, back then they didn't know what anesthesia was, so knowing
You
how.
feel sufficient,
Yeah,
or else you're dead. Can you imagine if people had to be self-sufficient now? How many people would just be
No, they wouldn't. They
king of the herd? I guess is maybe the word. Unalive. When they took that.
But I do like the peddlers. That was an interesting take on that, because that's indicative of witches were known to be herbalists. I mean, they would have pedals. They would be collecting anything that they saw that was useful to grab and take with them.
And they're useful when you need them, but then you turn on them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and keep in mind, like, if it only can grow in certain soil types, you can't, unless you're carrying a bunch of dirt back to your place, you would have to go to the graveyard to get that. You'd have to go to a battlefield. You'd have to go. Right. So, they're seeing them running, making these trips and all that. And then, well, they cured 5 different people that should have died. They got to be a witch. Not, oh, gee, thanks for saving Timmy.
Right. Why are you better? A witch over there.
Way to do the right thing. Now you're prosecuted.
Yep.
Yes.
And yeah, we can't have that here. I do have to say, though, you were telling the story about the dirt, and that made me think of, I was actually waiting for Gabriel to pop in here. When we went to Eureka Springs, the springs were supposed to be magically healing springs. But one of the things that we learned is that back when they discovered the springs, like, hygiene was not very great. Yep. So basically,
just washing a wound
out, they would wash themselves in the springs, and all of a sudden, like, things would be cured, and all of this would be better. And maybe even, I think, were they drinking the water at the time? They might have been drinking the water at the time, too.
They have told a story about that one guy that was blind because his eyes, and he was washing, he would see. Well, his eyes were full of crud. Yes.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, like, they had magic springs, but really it was probably just that they learned hygiene at this point.
Or they were malnutritioned without the right minerals, and you're drinking a mineral-infused water.
There's that too.
Yeah, there's a ton of things that it could be tied to that people don't know. Well, like, so there's a lot of lead deposits in this area of Kansas. Further down, I wonder if it didn't affect some of the way people act. But lead's sweet. A lot of people don't realize lead. Like, if you actually have something tainted with lead, it's sweet to the taste. Sure. And I get why people would keep on taking it, because they didn't know any better. It makes anything sweet.
Good.
Yeah. And then makes you more pale. I mean, you lose weight. It is just killing you. You just don't realize it.
Right.
Well, but that's common minerals in certain waters. And then mercury poisoning, too, is another big one. Makes you go crazy.
Have you ever heard of Yazoo City, Mississippi?
I have not heard of Yazoo, Mississippi.
Well,
That doesn't sound right though. What's
Yazoo.
Yazoo?
YAZ00 or ZZOO. Yazoo
Zero,
City,
zero.
Mississippi. Yep. So there's a legend speaks of witch who lived deep in the swamps, half wild, feared by everyone who crossed her path. Fishermen told stories of finding their lines cut, their boats tangled in reeds, and in seeing her eyes glowing like fireflies in the cypress gloom. In the late 1800s, a local sheriff pursued her into the swamp after rumors spread of a young man vanishing in her territory. She was cornered in a small shack where, according to the tale, they found the bones of those who had gone missing. The witch fled, running through the muck and moss until she got trapped into quicksand. As she sank, she cursed the entire town, swearing that exactly 20 years later she would return to burn Yazoo City to the ground. True to her word, 2 decades later, in 1904, a massive fire swept through, destroying more than 200 buildings. The official cause was never confirmed, but the flames moved fast as it was being pushed by a hand. So today in Glenwood Cemetery, there's a grave surrounded by heavy chain links said to be hers. Some chains are broken. Locals say when all of them fall, the witch will rise again. And they check quietly but often. So as I was reading this one, first of all, if you sink in quicksand, you're probably not getting out, right? I mean, they wouldn't go dig a witch out, so therefore, how would you bury her? I guess. But then again, it's once again, it's somebody that understood herbs that lived differently in the woods
And wanted to be left alone.
wanted to be left alone. And what happens when you want to be left alone? The town people come for you because you're different. You know.
What I thought with that story was that she was accused of, there was a bunch of missing men or missing fishermen, right?
Yeah, fishermen.
So she was the odd one out, and she was, of course, like, oh, why are all these fishermen missing? Like, basically what it sounded like is they needed somebody to blame for the fact that these fishermen went missing. I mean, they could have went missing for any reason, like bad weather, like their boats capsized, whatever it was, but they needed somebody to blame. She was the odd one. Let's blame this. Oh, it must be this lady that lives over here by herself that's weird
Right.
and has all these cats and whatever, because apparently she had a bunch of cats as well.
This isn't getting close to home to anybody, is it?
Always blame the weirdo.
No, not at all.
You know.
That's the one thing when I was looking into this case, I was like, okay, that seems just like we're just trying to blame somebody. Of course, it's going to be the weird lady why all these men are going missing. It couldn't possibly be like natural causes, Oh, it couldn't possibly be any of that. That being said, I have
What
to
year
point
was
out,
that?
18 something.
The fire was in
That was in
1904.
1904.
20 years before. So 1880.
Yazoo City.
80.
Yep.
I
Mississippi.
can't remember.
So it'd been right after the Civil War,
Yeah.
which losing a lot of men would be detrimental to that area.
Absolutely.
They already lost a ton of people already from the Civil War.
Yep.
But it's amazing when you're thinking about that these stories go all the way up into early 1900s.
Yes. 1904.
Yes.
That's something. I mean,
Now,
look,
to be-
there is a town, Yazoo City, Mississippi. I mean, we'll have to go there when we're in Tennessee just to go see.
Just
Since
to
we're in
check
the
it out.
area, grab
Why
some grits or something, and we.
But to be
Go check
fair,
out
like
the grave.
I think didn't Chicago burn down because of a cow?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Yes.
just saying that was also early 1800s as well. Again, maybe they're looking for somebody to blame. It just coincidence 20 years later, they wronged somebody, and well, maybe that makes more sense than, oh, by the way, everything's wooden and we shouldn't be using open flames at night.
to illuminate everything and eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's blame the weirdo.
She said though, wasn't it? Like the sheriff said, she said, we're gonna burn this house or burn this place down in 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah. I don't know why she would say 20 years, but also,
I'd be saying all sorts of stuff. They coming after me,
Well,
and
so
I'm
would
going
I.
quicksand,
I'd be like, throw me
You,
something.
your dog, the horse.
here's the thing. I always thought quicksand was going to be a lot more of a
Yes.
threat than it is now. Do you know?
Oh
Like
yeah.
when I was a
thought
kid,
everybody was going to have to.
combustion and quicksand.
I
It's
remember
weird.
Scooby Doo would always find situations that they're in, quicksand. It would be in cartoons
And
everywhere.
it's not as dangerous as what most people make because you actually still float in quicksand. It's very rare that you will rapidly, unless you panic and start.
Right.
It's not as dangerous as what most people make out. I know we were led down a horrible lie.
Right? I always thought I was going to walk outside, there'd be quicksand, or I'd
just
spontaneous
follow
combust
you up.
anything.
Yeah.
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 Tar pits are way worse. Like the La Brea tar pit, that's way worse to get caught in than any type of quicksand.
So wait a minute, Jeremy, or JD, or however you want to be called. Let's think about this for a second. So you're telling us that if you're sinking in quicksand, it's going to be a slower process than, like she's not going to automatically sink unless she panics.
And
If
starts
she's-
flailing.
If she's like this witch, this person that's living on the outskirts of town and like accused of killing all these men, like she probably is not going to panic in
Well, I would
quicksand,
think she would
right?
know the lay of the land. She probably wouldn't fall in quicksand.
I mean, if she
It's a
really
bad
knew
start,
that area, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless she knew about it and knew how to get out of it, because it's a liquefied sand. There's water underneath it. Maybe she just swam out from underneath it if she knew the area. They saw her
They
go
tried
under.
They said
And-
they buried her and she burnt the town 20 years later on purpose. Solved it.
Yep. Her and a cow rode in on a
Yeah.
cow.
Her and a
Thank-
cow. Yes.
Then they hit Chicago.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Why not? She was taking them all down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I mean, like
Point.
how, I mean, you assume like she's in like look up quicksand, see how fast you go down in quicksand. It's fairly slow, and I'm not. A lot of times it's not deep enough. Like a lot of people don't realize there's very few areas that have quicksand deep enough to go over your head. Like eventually, you get halfway and you float because you're more buoyant than the water in there.
Well, I think the quicksand. I mean, I would assume it squeezes your breath out of you before you actually suffocate, right? Because I mean, it's gotta.
Yeah.
I would assume, right? I mean, it doesn't just fill your lungs with
No.
sand.
So what you're thinking of is like grain silos where there's no water. The grain silo, because the weight of everything ends up
Pushes
sucking
against
around you. Yeah,
Right.
and eventually it crushes you to the point where you can't breathe. Quicksand is actually water and sandy soil mixed together. That when you step in it, you start sinking down. It's not the same because it's fluid. You still have the buoyancy of water. Because I thought I was going to have to deal with it a lot more than I
So you studied it. You made sure
Yeah.
you knew.
Everybody
You
thought
know all this ways to kill people. I gotta tell you, it makes me not only respect you, but makes me want to buy you things all the time. So I keep on your
I
good
like
side, He's like
The
a
fact that-
Rolodex. I love that.
Yes, he knew about nightshade, like
Yes.
arsenic.
You're
Wait.
a scary man, JD. You're just a scary man. I love it.
Listen, I don't like drinking things that smell like almonds for a reason.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
Amaretto
And I
smells like
also-
almonds.
I was gonna say, and the fact that I know exactly what you're referring to. It's also
Oh, so yeah, another time, another story. Me growing up, true crimes happened while I was in high school to my teacher, his wife, and his mistress that dealt with something like that. Oh yeah,
wait, what?
yeah. Well, we'll do a
What are you
true
doing
crime.
Monday?
Yeah, Monday. Now we can hop on.
I'm sorry, Thursday's True Crime Thursday. What you
Thursday,
doing
True Crime
Thursday?
Thursday.
That story,
Oh, I thought you were so excited about it. We were switching it to
We're
Monday.
just-
Yeah.
I want to know about this.
All right.
So
All
yeah,
right. I guess that's what we're doing now.
yeah. As we kind of went down the avenue of poisons and all that, I
love that.
actually was involved in one of those. So it was kind of not felt bad for the family and all that, but it was interesting.
Well, we got to make
Find
sure
that
you
out.
remain our friend there, JD, because I don't want to make you mad.
We haven't even gone down my military background and some of the stuff I learned how to do there.
Well, all right. We've got a couple Thursdays.
Yeah, we do. Well, we have one more story, and it's not a witch, but it's a ghost. If you're interested,
Absolutely.
what do you think that we start down the avenue of the Blair House haunting, right across from the White House? What do you know about it?
That one I don't know about that particular haunting.
All right. Well,
Go into it. I may have heard the story, but not realize where that's located at.
Well,
Kind of like
just-
the Sally House. I didn't realize it was just right up the road for forever.
Yeah, right.
well, just across the White House stands the Blair House, a stately residence known for the president's guest house. It's where foreign dignitaries slept, where quiet diplomacy happened. Closed curtains, a lot of stuff happened in there when it comes to politicians. The house was built in 1820s by Dr. Joseph Lovell. He was the first Surgeon General of the United States. Over the years, it passed through powerful hands, politicians, military leaders, and finally into the government ownership. But with that history came whispers of footsteps in empty corridors, phantom knocks on bedroom doors, and the cessation being watched from darkened stairwells. Some accounts tell of a spirit beloved to be the ghost of President Harry Truman's bodyguard, Leslie Coughlin, who died in a gunfight with by an assassin outside the Blair House in 1950. Staff and visitors have reported seeing a uniformed figure standing slightly near the entrance, disappearing before anyone can speak. Others say an older man in the 19th century clothing roams the second floor. His expression is grave. His presence is heavy. Whether these spirits are tied to politicians, tragedy, or simply the weight of history, Blair House remains more than a guest residence. It's the reminder that Washington, even in the most guarded rooms, where you are never truly alone. Now, when we were thinking of this one, Raven and I was reminded that the White House is haunted. President Lincoln, correct?
I was going to bring that up. Lincoln, there's
Right.
supposedly Kennedy also.
Kennedy, yes, Kennedy.
Well, and most, if you actually get into it, a lot of state capitals are also haunted. I wonder if that's not just because of the type of people and the discussions that happened. Richmond state capital and the house that the governor lives in is well known to be haunted. Well, the state capitol actually collapsed with like 200 some people in it and killed like 20 some people in there.
Okay.
But the White House, when you're bringing up, like, we're talking about ghosts, you're talking about the house across from the White House. And the White House is like really well known for being famous. But I wonder if that house also survived the burning of DC, or was that built after?
Well, there's tunnels all over the place in Washington
Oh,
D.C. So I think a lot, just like with a lot of art stuff, pictures, being in a position of authority like that, a politician, I think you put all your energy in it, and I think it does kind of leave a stain, anyways, just like arts,
Yes, no, I agree. I think the passion, the stress, the decision making, especially in the early years of the United States, between the Revolutionary to Civil War, the stress that people. I mean, like, you can look at presidents that go in 4 years, they look like they age 16 years. It's the amount of stress, and so yeah, I would not doubt any of those older buildings around the White House, because of just the significance and the amount of people being there. Pardon me, the decisions that have been made, the influence of people, and then like I said, the bodyguard was killed.
Yeah.
A lot of people died more often in their homes compared to nowadays. I mean, a lot of people still die in their home. It's like you're 80% more likely to die in your home than anywhere else or within 20 miles of your home. There's that true crime statistics that.
It's usually, actually, that's pretty, I don't know what the statistic is, but that's pretty accurate. Like, it's pretty close to home. Or like car accident wise too. Actually, you're supposed to like really close to home. Like
5
that's where
miles
you're.
or 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it's because you
really close, yeah.
get close to home and you relax. But I mean, I'm
Yeah.
saying back then it was very common. Like they didn't have
Oh yeah,
the
people didn't go
hospitals and all
anywhere.
that we had. The doctors made home visits because
Yeah.
generally they just didn't have the technology. So you're talking 1800s house. Who knows how many people have actually passed away or on the land, meaning
Oh,
around the
absolutely.
house. I mean, duels were real back then. You could duel people. Very common for people to shoot other people trying to rob them. You know,
It's true.
we've kind of
Alexander
became more. Yeah.
died in a duel.
Well, that's a messed up one because he shot up and then the other
Yeah.
guy shot him.
He
Like,
purposely. Yeah.
missed because he didn't want to kill the other person. The other person was like, "F you."
Yeah. You're a burster.
No, so I mean, there is so much history. It would not be surprising to see people in those any of the houses that are still from that time frame of near the White House. To me, I'd love to check out the White House.
Oh, I think that'd be cool. You know, I'll call
I've
Trump
actually
and see
seen
him when
the
it's
White
in. How
House.
about that?
Yeah, why don't you give him a call and say,
Yeah, I
"Hey,
will. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
go on.
Gabriel's calling.
Oh.
We just gotta go in.
Give
Just
him
give us the run of the place. You can have it back. It's fine.
yeah, we just want to investigate for the paranormal."
Yeah.
Just to say hi to Lincoln and anybody else that's still there.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I'll see if I. Hey, can you find the email address for them, Raven? I'll
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll work on that.
you know,
Let's
since I'm
see.
just gonna take it over for one day. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. He can stay there. I mean,
I would have a Diet Coke with him.
That'd be fine. Yeah.
You know,
What?
I don't think it's going to happen, guys.
That's all.
not with that attitude.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah, I'll call him tomorrow. I'll call.
Thank
call.
Yeah. Yeah, just reach out to them if they're not already watching.
Right. He'll call me up like, yeah, come on over.
Yeah, come
I'm
on
like,
over.
No problem.
Yeah.
You know.
We're going to have that joke anyway. We're probably on a list somewhere.
We
He
are
keeps
now,
making
because-
podcasts
Yeah,
about
we're
the fake,
now.
the fake sun. We're totally on a list. Yeah. They're
What-
totally like, uh-oh. Watch
Are you
these
guys
two.
in some mood for some paranormal news at all?
Yes,
Well,
always.
What do you know about
the
31 Atlas? The
31
rock.
Atlas?
Yeah, the
Big
rock.
rock?
Yes. That'll be
Did
here in
you-
December.
Turtling toward us.
Did you guys watch that TikTok I sent you?
I actually
I
just
watched
did an episode on it, but tell us about it.
Well, so the one I sent you was with Jeremy.
I watched.
Yep.
And he was warned. This was 6 years ago that we would be told that we'd have a large object coming near us, and that's the lie, that there's something else. He doesn't know what. But he was warning like 5 or 6 years ago, because it was when he was on the tour with Bob Lazar.
Uh-huh.
He'd mentioned that he'd been told by somebody in the government that they will come out and tell a story of a large ship or asteroid coming towards the world,
Right.
and that will be the lie. That will be a setup for them to then come out and say something else. Which I thought was kind of odd, because it's popping up more and more now, because
It is.
they're talking about, hey, this object's coming in, now it's slowed down, so it can't be
Something.
natural, it's got to be something.
It's reflecting light strangely.
Mhm.
You know? It's starting to turn a little bit. So
But you know about the Black Knight satellite, right?
no, tell me about that.
So the Black Knight satellite has been around since we've been into space. It is a natural satellite that seems to change orbits. Has been picked up. It's a large black object that has been up there ever since we've been up there, and that there's a lot of rumors and conspiracies that it is actually a satellite for aliens that they put in orbit once we're getting close to being able to go into space. But it is known, technically it's a moon, because it's a natural rock that orbits the Earth. It's not very big, but the fact that it can change orbits, change its location, and that is what really throws people off.
That's pretty
Very
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. Then maybe we'll find out if the moon's actually hollow or not. Maybe they're just going to land on the backside of the moon,
Right.
ring
It
the
was
bell.
made of
and,
cheese.
yeah, it's made of cheese.
I
Well, what
Yeah,
do you
no,
know
we.
about the skunk ape sightings in the Florida Everglades? You heard of the skunk
Oh yeah.
ape? Tell me a little
No,
bit about that. Since you're a wealth of knowledge, I love listening to you.
well, I
He is
lived
a
in
wealth.
Florida for a while. That's where I did my U.S. Navy. Most of my time was down in Florida,
Thank
Jacksonville,
you for your
Florida.
service, by the way. I mean that.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. So the skunk gate, it's kind of a weird situation down there because you actually have orangutans, chimpanzees, and
In Florida?
gorillas in Florida.
No way.
So yes. So what
That's cool.
happens? Well, and this is how the pythons. A lot of people think it's all the snakes, the pythons, and the boa constrictors are people throwing their pets out. No, it's when the tornado, where the hurricanes come through, it wipes out all those buildings and they survive. Well, then they run off into the Everglades
It became a home. Yeah.
and it becomes a home. And most of these animals, it's tropical, so it doesn't get too cold, gets a little warm. So I mean, the skunk ape is known to only be between 6 to 8 foot max. They're not very big. They have the standard odor of a skunk or something very musky. The photos that they've captured look very similar to orangutans on most of the ones that they catch, like the face.
Right.
So a lot of people are, I mean, there's a good chance that it actually could be orangutans, chimpanzees, which are not, those are, people don't realize, we see them in the movies and they're all cute. They are not friendly.
No.
No, a male adult chimpanzee can be
Oh no.
10. They will literally rip you apart. They won't kill you. They'll just bite your fingers off, mutilate you and leave you, dig your eyes out. But they won't kill you. They'll just maim the living daylight. It's just nasty what they've done. But it could be a Sasquatch. It literally could be an orangutan or multiple or even
Do
gorillas.
you think it's a hybrid? Maybe a government project went wrong. I mean, Florida is a good place to do that kind of stuff.
I don't. Well, so there's not a whole lot of bases towards the south when you're getting in that area. Could have been. I mean, like anything is possible, but I think it's probably an actual escaped great ape. But I mean, again, though, you get into the native folklore, the Seminoles and all that. They have stories of hairy people and all that. I mean, that's pretty indicative all across the United States. So I mean, I'm just saying that I think there's more possibility of it being a real ape that got released than something still surviving. Because whatever it is has to deal with crocodiles and
Right.
alligators. Because once you get to the tip of Florida, people don't know they have saltwater crocodiles down there in the Everglades, and then you also have the alligators in the freshwater. So and now they have anacondas and all sorts of stuff. So I mean,
I'm going to take Florida off of my wanting to move list, just so you know.
just stay up towards the northern part of
I
the
don't
state.
think it's ever on your to-move list.
Oh, I loved living in Florida. The beaches, like on the Gulf Coast side, the beaches are white sand. It's picturesque. I don't know what I'd do down there. I mean, I lived on a base for a while, so I got used to that area. But I mean, it's like the lightning capital of the world. That was one of the things they show, all the lightning strikes in the area.
Yeah, Florida.
It's like, how did anybody survive? It's hitting everywhere.
Wow.
What do you think? Do you think it's a hybrid? Do you think a government propaganda? Do you think what? Or
I
the
have
real
a
thing left over?
natural distrust of the government, period. And we just got canceled again, in case you're
Well, I
wondering.
was gonna say.
But I think it could be a hybrid. Something that I mean, I'm from the era that the government did. You'd watched all the crime shows and the mystery shows, and it'd be the theater of the mind that the government would create half human, half animal hybrids. I always enjoyed that kind of talk, the stories. So I'm a big believer in hybrids. Sasquatch, I think that might be a hybrid.
Could be a remnant, missing link,
Could be missing link.
offshoot. Maybe they're Neanderthals and they're just, or Denisovans or another breed that we don't know. I just think it's interesting the height differences throughout the areas. Because Yeah, skunk apes are probably the smallest one in North America. Then you go into the Midwest where you have the Ohio grassman, Momo, and the Falk, Arkansas Falk monster, which they're anywhere between 7 to 8 foot, generally 6 to 8 foot tall.
Something I definitely don't want to run into. I'd just rather deal with the demons like at Sally House or something like that. Not these beasts that are going to be gouging out my
Yeah.
eyes, biting out my fingers.
I-
It's like a good time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
No, I'm the same way. I have a better chance with a demon than I
Right.
run into a hostile Bigfoot.
I mean, they
People
just
don't
want my
understand
soul, which I'm willing to sell for prices. You know, I mean, whatever. But you know, I don't want to be maimed to death. That doesn't sound like fun at all. You know?
Yeah.
I
Being
like
torn.
I like your theory, JD. I am a huge I love the idea of a Sasquatch. Like I believe in Bigfoot. I believe in all that, but I don't know. I liked your theory a lot. I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna get us canceled again just because I'm gonna come out and tell you guys something that people might not like me after this for. I don't like
Don't-
monkeys.
Don't blow
I
this.
don't like.
You don't like
I
monkeys.
just did. I don't like
Little
monkeys.
teacup
I don't like
monkeys,
monkeys.
on like TikTok. Those look like cute little guys. You put little
That's-
pickles in them. I mean, you know,
So
They stink. They
yeah.
fling their poo.
No, thank you.
Chimpanzees will rip your face off.
I
I
don't like
remember
Whoa,
that
whoa, whoa.
story.
Chimpanzees aren't monkeys. Chimpanzees
Oh.
are apes.
Well,
have no
all right,
tail.
fine. I don't like monkeys and also chimpanzees. I can do a gorilla. Gorillas are fine. I don't want to meet one. I don't want to be friends with a gorilla. That thing will also rip my face off.
Yeah.
And your eyes.
All right.
Bite off your
Yeah.
fingers.
Probably.
Yeah, your whole arm off, beat you with it. It's
Art Anaconda.
I
One of
get
my
what you
favorite
do to
movies is the
beat you
Anaconda
with
with was that Ice Cube in there? And I don't want to see an anaconda. They just
No,
they're
well,
not
especially
snake
when they're
guy.
that big.
Little garden snake. I'm running. I'm screaming like a little baby girl.
Yeah, you are.
Well,
He is
that was
like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He is. Like, oh, the snakes. Why is it always snakes?
right.
So Brian Goddard of Cryptid Paranormal, he came up for the KC Paracon, but he was talking about his Bigfoot encounter. He's a mountain of a man. He's 6'8", 300 plus pounds. I'm like, he makes. I think we put pictures like he's in the back and he makes Parachum and OG look like me normally. Me next, so
And
he's a massive guy.
guys, you know.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and he was talking about that was what got him is when it stood up in front of him, that was at least 2 to 3 foot taller than him, and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing in Pennsylvania woods that should be that tall. Period. I mean, black bear a huge black bear is 6 foot. Most of them are like 5'8" to 5'10". When they stand up, something that is over 7 foot, pushing 8 to 9 foot tall, that's massive. And
That
then.
is
Yeah. So I go down the theory of like, there's not a lot of records of aggressive Bigfoot. I mean, the Falk monster was aggressive. Momo was aggressive, but in general, if they're really aggressive and as fast as they move, you wouldn't hear about it because if they're that aggressive, that'd just be a missing hunter.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Camper went missing. Wonder what happened. Oh,
Right. Fell
because
off.
I mean,
Flip.
what are you going to do against a 10 foot, 8 foot tall gorilla? I mean,
Run like a little girl.
yeah.
Scream.
Hopefully you can outrun it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Are you,
Grab the
I don't think
sword
monkeys
person
are
next to you
anymore.
and throw him behind you. That's what I would do. Makes sense.
and you run faster than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knees up. Remember?
Knees all the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need it. Go, 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 go.
So if we ever go hunting with them, we have to bring Ray with us. So she's kind of the bait, you know. Just
Mine's
leave her
I'm
Parachum.
short though. I'm short. I can duck and I can dive and I can roll.
Me and OG's playing as Parachum. We know we can outrun him.
Poor Parachum. Such a
Yeah,
good guy.
He's not
we're with Drunken Cryptids. It's Matt. Matt's a Army Ranger, and Army's pretty rough on your body after so many years. So I'm pretty sure I can outrun Matt. So
It's always good to have that person that if you have to, they can become
Yeah.
bait. I mean, nothing wrong with that. You're just doing subtraction. That's all. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I'm glad I was the one to help you all escape.
Well,
Yeah.
you're slow and short. I mean, that's what you said.
just keep
I
on
think
working
it's
on your
so
Tomb Raider
short.
workouts. You'll
I
pick up
have
speed.
been.
That's right.
I can
Yeah.
jump higher than you. How about that?
Well, you're gonna
Yeah.
have to because we'll be running in front of you.
I can't climb though.
Well, that's all I have actually.
I find that hard to believe.
It's true.
He always has more.
I have the Ghost Ship. The English Channel has its share of ghost stories, but a few are present as of the Lady Love Bond. Legend says that in 1748, the schooner was wrecked on the Goodwin Sands by a jealous first mate, killing everyone aboard. Since then, the ship has been seen every 50 years. Its crew pale and silent. It sails full with no wind blows. But last month, fishermen of the Kent coast reported seeing it again, just 25 years after its last predicted appearance. They described a three-mast schooner. Am I saying that right? Schooner?
Yeah, schooner.
Schooner gliding through the thick fog, the figures on deck frozen in place. No sound, no wake, and then nothing. Maritime historians don't believe in the curse, but the locals aren't so quick to dismiss it. If the Lady Lovebound has broken her cycle, it may not be haunted aboard for much longer, but a warning of the storms yet to come. So I actually had the wonderful experience, thanks to my wife. We lived aboard a houseboat in Minnesota for about 7 years. I'm a big boat guy. I love boats. And there's a romance, I think, about ships. So I love me a good story about haunted ghosts on ships. What do you think?
Ghost
Any
ships.
stories?
Oh yeah, no, it's a fascinating subject. You know, there's more than one. But there's we talked about one. We actually did an episode of the haunted ghost ships that it's not released yet. I don't believe it. But there's been sightings. I mean, dating all the way back to when the ships were new. Like ships just because you have two types. You have the spectral style of it's floating and you can never catch it, to the ships that just show up and there's nobody on board. And to me, being in the Navy and looking into some of that, it's very common. Like ships have been seen for eons, ever since people have been out on the ocean. And maybe it's a mirage situation off the water, but the three-mast ship has been seen. The Flying Dutchman.
The Flying
Dutchman is a very famous one, but
right.
It's a three-mast ship. It's a schooner. Most of them are, and they talk about them. And what makes that really particular is that you cannot mistake. It is a very unique-looking ship.
Absolutely.
Versus modern-day ships and all that. I mean, you know what a ocean liner looks like and all that, but those, especially nowadays when they get spotted, you're not mistaking that for any modern ship.
Do you know of any modern ghost ship stories? Are they always kind of in the past? Because ships are made out of wood, right? And wood holds energy.
So the Mary Celeste is one of the more. That's a physical ship that shows up that people board, and the crews are all gone. They have no reason why. There's other ships that have shown up where people have been mummified inside, and they look like they died in horror.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, there's. Yeah, I mean, there's still. I was trying to think what the Mary Celeste was seen all the way up to the 1980s.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was built in I thought we said that 1700s. It had been rebranded a couple times before it became the Mary Celeste. But there's quite a few. And if you dig into it, they're probably still being seen. I would like to find out whether or not there are ghost ships in the Great Lakes.
Well,
because there is the triangle up there.
There is. So we are going to Michigan on Thursday to the to investigate that lighthouse. But I love the water. You definitely being a Navy guy. That's very cool to us. I would love to find. We should do an investigation up in the Great Lakes. Rent a boat, stay out in an island somewhere for a while, and just kind of see what happens, man.
Yeah, I mean, we could get near to the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. We could do. There's a ton of stuff up in that area that, preferably during warmer times.
Have you done any investigations up in that area, Edie?
No, I have not done a lot of investigations up in that area. Pretty much going up and visiting you guys and doing Bray Road. We generally have stayed, but we do have a friend that's near, I think he's just outside of Chicago, that he's redoing a Victorian house.
Oh, how
That-
cool is that?
Oh yeah, he says he's getting activity in it, and we'd be more than welcome to come up and investigate it, put cameras up and all that. So I'll get more information on that because I think it's close to you guys. That might be a fun.
Yeah, Chicago's
Collab,
only
it's
2 hours
some-
away, like 4 hours or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's actually part of another investigation group. So we got 5 minutes to go. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, 5 hours away.
Oh, 5 hours
Chicago.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, we'll get stuff figured out, and yes, that sort of stuff. I mean, how great would it be to do a podcast setup where the backdrop is the lake?
Oh, that would be absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we're shooting for. This weekend coming up when we're in.
I was gonna say, I got time.
Well, so I did my boot camp up at the Great Lakes base by Chicago, and that was one of the first times I ever saw the Great Lakes. Is when I got flown up there, and people don't realize it looks like the ocean. Like
It
you
does.
don't see the other
It
side.
does.
No.
It does look
You
like
know,
the ocean.
and it's just amazing.
Like yourself.
Yeah.
So on the basis, if you don't mind me asking, is there any superstition when it comes around boats and stuff? I mean, being in the Navy, that's kind of the thing is the boat, right?
Well, they generally in the Navy there's ships, but you know, the Coast Guard's got boats.
I meant
But the-
ships, of course.
I know what you meant. Most of the older superstitions have gone to the wayside. Modern technology kind of takes care of a lot of that. But there's a lot of things that everybody has some superstitions. The way in the military you have to be welcome aboard. You're not supposed to board a ship without being called on.
Right.
There's at one point certain people were considered bad luck, and then
Women, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but that's been proven different now.
Right.
But a lot of it was superstition that was tied to something until they figured it out. There's some terms that came from the military, ships in general. Was it store and high place? There's an acronym on why certain things are stored high, the poop deck and other things, your starboard. So there's all of it goes back to something, but there's St. Elmo's fire on you don't hear about that much anymore, but on mast ships when they're out at sea, there's a phenomenon that a light will start generating at the very tip of the mast and will start. It's called St. Elmo's fire. It's, plasma or ball lightning that can happen. You get into ships. Even Columbus saw lights under the water. Could have been bioluminescent algae. Could have been an underwater UFO.
Well, aliens. If you're a alien guy too, right? So,
Yep.
The part of the thing is them being in the ocean, coming up from there.
Yep. So no, there's a lot of superstitions when you get into the sea. I mean, like one of my favorite songs is recommend the Edmund Fitzgerald talking about when the winds of November come, and then you get in some lakes like Lake Tahoe is another one to look into. That the lake's so deep that once you go so far down, bodies don't decompose. They turn into a waxy substance.
Lake Superior, I hear you're saying if you're gonna dump a body because they don't float up because
Well, so there's
there's
a place in the Great Lakes that they go when you go get deep water certified.
Mhm.
There's a place that you go down, and what the deal is, you're supposed to go down to the ship where there's a guy still there, and you're supposed to touch him or take a picture with them, and then come back up because that shows proof that you've survived your dive that deep. But he's basically waxed. His body's, because of the pressure and the temperature, he's preserved. And I mean, he's from I think the 1800s was when the ship went down. Like they're finding more and more ships at those distances down that are perfectly preserved. So it's pretty neat.
Has anybody got a picture with him?
But
Has anybody got a picture with him? Has anybody?
I believe so. You can look him up on the internet, and they have pictures.
Oh, that's cool.
Is it weird that I want to get deep water certified now?
Until you see what's down there.
Ah,
Yeah, I know. You just take a selfie. Selfie.
But-
Just take a selfie. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Hey, look what I did today. Yeah.
Well, so here in Kansas, they do it in the strip mines. So there's a lot of mines that were basically they dug these open holes. They go so far down, they hit the water table, and it starts filling up. So they're 100 to 200 feet deep, real clear water. A lot of them have cars from the 1920s. Still have old cranes in the bottom, and a lot of you can go get certified for open water up in Kansas if you're at the right areas because it's deep enough and wide enough to be able to get certified. Otherwise, you have to go to the Great Lakes, Tahoe, or the Gulf. But something to think about. It's always a good hobby. I never got scuba certified. One of the misses of being in the Navy, I should have done.
Well, I thank you for being here, JD. I do. Chumming with the Spirits. If I recommend everybody checking you guys out. You guys are great.
I recommend
There
people
are-
checking you guys out. Darkwoods. You guys put on a great show. It's always a pleasure talking with you guys. We're always looking for more collaborations and seeing you guys. One of the highlights of Missouri Paracon was meeting you guys.
Oh, thank you for that. That's real nice.
So looking forward to it. I'm gonna have to bow out too. It's getting pretty late. I got to get ready. But time flies
It does.
when you're having this much fun.
Well, thank you, sir, for
It
being
does
here.
fly.
I appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate you very much. Chumming with Spirits, of course, the rest of the crew.
They've been chiming in the chat every once in a while.
Yeah, I thought Dave's been very active.
But well, you guys have a great night. Be safe, and we'll see you soon.
Well, thank you, Raven. You have a good day as well.
All right. Well, should we close it out, Gabriel?
We should. Why don't you do the thing?
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. And as always, you can find everything else on YouTube on our Darkwoods Paranormal page or wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure that you check all of those out, like, follow, subscribe, all of the fun things. Thursday, we are going to be in Michigan, so we'll have to see how that live goes because that's going to be something completely different, but stay tuned for that. And as always, stay curious, stay aware, and
most of all, my friends,
safe.
you stay safe out there. Bye.